May I get a quick one without the glasses? Never, but I have to ask. 30 seconds, I have to choose one.
Jane. Who's Fonda?
A while ago, we were really Hollywood and we were making
Coming around.
One more time.
The movie is like personal and inexpensive, and so it felt like we could just follow the instincts that we had. We were not in a situation where we had to like appeal to a movie studio and to somebody putting $30 million in. It just felt like we could make like the best version of this movie, and if we make it on a modest budget, there's a chance it could come out and do well. So there was never a feeling of like high pressure. It was always like, let's take this personal thing and just try to make it as good as possible. I write in a weird way, I guess. I mean, it doesn't seem weird to me, but I write like in email drafts, so I don't know how long scripts are, because I want them to like not feel like movie scripts. I write in email drafts and on pieces of paper and weird stuff, and I lose some stuff during the process. But basically, I want to not think about them as movies until I finish them, and so or plays, as my background is in plays, and so I know when it's done, when it feels done. I'm not thinking of page count, and then afterwards I transfer everything into final draft, and I usually overwritten scenes. But so they're done like in a more pure way, rather than like I have to get 10 more pages in. I don't feel that way.
There are no limits. What side? Kara, one more time further ahead, please.
Yeah, so happy to be here as a producer, because Shogun was my first experience to involve as a producer in my life. And I had a great time with the cast and crew. And then now I'm here. It's amazing. It's a kind of, great moment in my life. All my experience put into Shogun, and Shogun brought me here. So it's amazing.
I'm surprised to hear that it was your first dip into the producing world. Now that this has happened, is it kind of one of those moments where you realize I'm doing the right thing with myself, if that makes sense?
I just followed my instinct all the way, in my life. And I think, all the decision or choices was right. I think I can say, of course, I made a lot of mistakes or bad experience, but even though those kind of things gave me advice, I learned from the mistakes. So all the experience worked for here, So it's amazing, like a dream.
And you mentioned decades. Yes. Is it nice? Is it a blessing or is it a curse to be able to go online and see what you were doing in 2002 or 1999? Do you know what I mean? Like, your whole life has been documented at this point.
Yes, but the thing is, you have to remember that it's actually quite good to have an archive of yourself available online, because you forget. I have a website purely for me to remember what I've done. And actually, I quite like it. I've written some memoirs, and I Google myself and read. I thought, I remember going, that's what I meant, Drew Barrymore, things like that. I actually quite like it. I mean, I actually really think when you're an actor, especially nowadays, you are so used to seeing pictures of yourself much, much younger all the time. So in a funny sort of way, it's actually quite, I feel, it's not a shock when I see young pictures of myself. I'm always surrounded by images of myself like that. And I actually think I embrace it, and I like it. And people do it on Instagram all the time and tag me, and I post it too, because I think it's important to remember that was then, you were great then, and you're great now.
Great.
They were in Funny or Die, so I know them for many years. We worked together, and it's
I'm curious, when you put out a project, you put it out in the world, obviously it is a version of yourself that you want the world to see that fits whatever the project may be. But when people meet you in real life, do they expect you to be like what they've seen on television or in films? Like, how do you navigate that?
All the time. I've been around long enough now where I think people, especially if you've seen me in various things and not just Billy on the Street, or you've seen me on talk shows, you know I'm actually a pretty normal, level-headed human being that created this wild character. But yeah, I think sometimes people are kind of disappointed in a way that I'm just very normal. It's the craziest thing. I spend my life with people coming up to me saying, I want you to shout at me. I want you to get angry at me. It's a very odd phenomenon. That's usually not something people want to have happen to them. In fact, they actively don't want to be shouted at, but by me, they want the experience of it. It's so bizarre, and I am, I'm very grateful for that. I think people just love that persona, and you try to navigate that because you don't just want to keep doing that. I'm an actor, went to Northwestern, went to theater school, so I like to branch out and try different things, but I do very much appreciate the fact that people love Billy on the Street.